Hello guys, my name's Kim and today we're going to be talking about Suicide Squad. Now this is a widely talked about film right now because it is getting severe mixed reviews. Severe. Okay, there is a bush turkey outside and please don't come any closer, my dog will eat you. Okay, it like teleported somewhere. Alright, so yes, extremely mixed reviews. Obviously the critics saw it before it had been released and they have been ripping it a new hole, throwing it under the bus, ripping it apart. It's just being shredded. So us as, you know, fans and viewers are just like, what is going on? Why is everyone rating this film so bad? So now that it's finally out, we can make our own decisions and I did go see it the other night. So it's time to talk about it. Firstly, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to find this film very, very hard to rate. Very, very difficult, especially like the out of 10 things that I normally give films. Because I'm going to be clear here, Suicide Squad is not a bad film, but it's not a great film either. So that being said, yes, I did like it, but I didn't love it. So I decided I didn't really want to give it a rating out of 10 because it's too difficult. I'm going to give it a C to C-. I think that is a steady rating and I am behind that rating. C to C-. So if you're new to my channel and you don't really know much about my likes and dislikes, let's give some context. So for Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, ignore cinema, no, that didn't exist. The Ultimate Edition, I would probably give that a B to B+. I have watched that film so many times since I got it on Blu-ray, so I would definitely give that a B to B+. So on the scale there, that's what we're looking at. So yes, I did enjoy Batman v Superman 1,000 times more than Suicide Squad, but that's not saying the Suicide Squad is a bad film. But what I can probably say is that if you did not like Batman v Superman, you will not like Suicide Squad. But let's get into talking about the actual film. Be forewarned that this is going to contain spoilers. I have got no time to make a non-spoiler and spoiler review. I need to talk about it all at once. It's gonna all flow out and we're gonna talk about it, okay? So if you have not seen this film, I will be talking spoilers. I suggest go seeing it this weekend or whenever I upload this. Just go see the film and then come back here so we can talk properly. Goodbye. So let's talk a bit about the positives first, because I don't want this to be a negative thing. All the characters, all the actors. I have to say, the characters and of course the actors that played the characters were fantastic in this film. They were all pretty much flawless and I love them to bits. Though I have extreme reservations about Margot Robbie as Enchantress and Enchantress just as a character and WTF they did to her, but we'll talk about that much later. So the one that I was actually kind of concerned about was Deadshot, because Will Smith was playing Deadshot. Will Smith is obviously a big actor, he's got his own personality, so I thought in this film we would see Will Smith, not Deadshot. But I was happily surprised in this film. I think Will Smith did a pretty good job, though I do have to admit that there were times in this film that I felt like I was watching Will Smith and not Deadshot, and I couldn't really separate the two. It was difficult, but there were elements in there that we got both of them together. So I'm not saying he was bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that I kind of saw Will Smith instead of Deadshot at times, which it's hard to rip those two apart, obviously. Now actually, two characters I was really interested in after this film was El Diablo and Captain Boomerang. So El Diablo just seems like the kind of character that the director really loved. David Ayer, it just felt like he was his character. It was very him, and I think he really loved developing that character. That's what I could see from this film. If you've seen End of Watch or if you've David Ayer's other films, that character seems very safe and secure to him. He has done that kind of character before and explored it. Well, not like his abilities, but the type of personality. So I think he felt very comfortable developing him, and I think that's what made me more interested in this character rather than others, because the film felt like it liked the character. So he was probably definitely one of my favorites. And of course Captain Boomerang, I have to love him. Finally, Jai Courtney has done something that us Australians can be proud of. Thank you. Now, I think as most of you are either American or British, you have to understand the context of us Australians watching the way that we react to an Australian character in a film. Now what was hilarious is obviously I'm Australian, I live in Australia, so every time Jai Courtney / Captain Boomerang was on screen with his overly characterized Australianness, every person in the cinema was laughing. It was fun, we could enjoy it. We could enjoy laughing at ourselves. Are we like this character? No, not really. But what is funny and quite interesting is that this character is bringing us all together in the cinema because he is from our culture. So most of the people in the cinema were just pissing themselves when he just, you know, got out of the bag and started punching people, all of his crazy antics and his over-the-top Australian ochre accent. And it really looks like Jai Courtney had so much fun with that character, so I have to say, well freaking done. And I was actually a little disappointed that he was only a supporting character and we didn't get to see a lot more of his backstory, but obviously there's so many different characters in this film, so you cannot focus on one person for too long. I have to mention there was one moment of him that I was literally pissing myself, and it's probably just a stupid me thing, but it was just the moment when he threw the boomerang to like have a look at what Enchantress was doing with her evil plan. It just reminded me so much of myself. Okay, I shit you not, a bird just flew into my window. What is happening right now? I have bush turkeys, I have birds. What's next? A pterodactyl. Anyway, that scene reminded me so much of myself when I play the Arkham games and I don't know what the F is going on over a rooftop or something. So I get out my remote control batarang and just throw it over the building so I can see what's going on in the next whatever and just kind of analyze the situation and how I'm gonna go in and fight people or whatever. It just reminded me so much of that and I was just like, you know, it's probably not intentional, but I just loved that. It was great. I want to talk quickly about Harley Quinn. I'm not actually a huge Harley Quinn fan. I do like Harley Quinn, but she's not like my favorite character ever. In fact, I do find her quite annoying, which she did point out in the film that she can be quite vexing. So I felt that Margot Robbie did a very good job of playing Harley Quinn. She had this level of annoyance to her, as well as a crazy level, and you could actually see a huge amount of vulnerability in this, which was really cool and very, very rare to see in Harley Quinn, so she was able to portray all of this, which was fantastic. I do feel like at times she had some very, very cheesy lines, but overall I think she did a really good job as Harley Quinn, and oh my god, that one montagey scene of her and the Joker in their traditional costumes, it felt so weird to like see that and have that in there, and it was very randomly placed, but it was kind of cool to see in her complete jester outfit and then the Joker in his suit. Oh my god, it was really cool and kind of surreal, so I'm kind of glad they did that actually. So yes, the characters, the actors were great in this film. They were fantastic. What let this film down, what destroyed this film, was actually the filmmaking aspect, the plot and the progression and the scenes and the way they were shoved together. You can tell from the get-go that this film was extremely messed with, extremely. They had scenes coming out of this section and they had things moving around. It just felt like there was 100 films in one film and everything was like a montage. It was a montage of this person and then the montage of that on top of this and that and that, and it was just like a tree of montages, which was very, very off-putting and you could never really tell what the hell was happening at times. It was very, very confusing. I mean, no one wants to go into a film of a montagey scene mess and be watching here and there and there and looking there and moving the head around like you're possessed by some crazy ass ghost looking at the frickin' screen, okay? You want to have your head forward, you want to be comfortable, you want to just be, you know, involved in a scene, not thrown about like you're on some frickin' roller coaster. So what I have to say about this is, WTF, Warner Brothers? What the frickin' hell are you doing? It just seems like they're like, okay, we give creative control to you, team, and then after they've done and shot everything like it's supposed to be, they get into the cutting room floor and they're like, yeah, well, we had a few sort of ideas from what happened with Batman v Superman or Man of Steel or whatever beforehand, and we think it'd be better if you did this, and then they completely fuck with it and destroy it, and it's just like a big roly-poly mess of stupidness and things that don't make sense. So that was the biggest downfall of this film. It was just the plot and the scenes were a mess. So I think what would be really interesting to see is the Ultimate Edition. We're gonna hope, here that there's an ultimate edition of this film, and maybe Warner Brothers will be a bit smarter when it comes to this, that when you shoot something, just leave it be. Stop touching it, it's done. It's like when you hand in an essay, just stop. Just leave it. It is done. Get it graded, get it marked, whatever. You know, if you fuck around with it, I don't know where I was going with that. So yes, the plot, the scenes, complete mess. I don't really even want to get started on the CGI. I just have this thing where I do not like CGI anymore. I feel like it is destroying and wrecking films. Of course, this film was CGI heavy, and that brings us into talking about the main villain of the film, Enchantress. So Enchantress by far was one of the most interesting characters that I was really looking forward to getting to know in this movie. Not anymore. I don't know what happened here with Cara Delevingne, but it's just like she lost it towards the end, and it was just so weird and messy, and her plan wasn't even really clear, and she did things that didn't make sense. And especially, I think this is widely talked about right now, is her weird, crazy, gyrating, hip moving, Shakira don't lie, dance in front of that crazy portal thing. Who even knows what was happening there, but someone needs to ASAP fix that. And I don't even really want to mention this, but I think I have to. When Enchantress made her brother possess this guy and he turned into like freaking Amazing Spider-Man 2 Electro / the Mummy monster tentacle dude. What was that? That was like possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. What? Just that whole storyline was beyond cheesy. They all looked beyond cheesy. Enchantress's outfit looked hella cool, but it got completely ripped away by whatever the frickin' hell was going on there. I mean, I just, no interest in it. Didn't want to know, didn't care, was very happy when it just all ended. Pretty much. I just didn't want to see her. She didn't interest me. You know what would have been interesting is if we actually saw some interaction between Dr. Moon and Enchantress. Like, obviously there's a struggle for power there, you know, Dr. Moon's trying to keep in control of herself, Enchantress is trying to take over her body. Why did we never see them interacting, that struggle, you know? I think maybe I would have sympathized more with her, but it just seems like she was this character that was just possessed by someone, and then she cried about it. So no, did not like the villain, did not like Enchantress, didn't like Cara Delevingne as the Enchantress, which is probably not her fault, but sorry girl, you're part of it now. Okay, a big one I want to talk about is the Joker, obviously. The Joker was not a big part of this film. Not that he's really supposed to be a big part of this film. Everyone's saying, oh my god, the Joker didn't have enough scenes. The Joker's not part of the Suicide Squad, so he's not really supposed to have a lot of scenes. Though they did throw a lot of his scenes in the trailer to entice people to watch it more. They kind of shot themselves in the foot because the Joker isn't even in it that much. So if people are watching it to see the Joker, they're gonna be disappointed, aren't they? So yes, the Joker wasn't in much of this film, you know, for obvious reasons, but the thing was, the parts that he was in this film, you couldn't really judge him as the Joker. I mean, I actually have no opinion of him as the Joker because I didn't see enough of him to understand him as the Joker. It just wasn't a very good film to introduce the new Joker in, you know? It should have been done in a Batman film, not in a Suicide Squad film where we only see small flashbacks and montages of him. I couldn't make a judgment on his character, or Jared Leto playing the Joker. I don't want to make a judgment because I feel like it's not fair to him. He didn't get a chance to really shine. So overall for the Joker, I mean, physically I think he looked good. It was very different, obviously. He was much more mobster in this one rather, well, he's always a mobster, isn't he? But he's much more gangster mobster in this than, you know, other renditions and such. He was obviously crazy, but it was hard to sort of place him because, again, random cutty montagey scenes with other things happening. Just not the best way to introduce the Joker. Now I also want to talk about Amanda Waller in this film. Viola Davis, wow, fantastic as Amanda Waller. Holy moly, I absolutely loved her in this film. She was so great and felt so much like Amanda Waller, and I'm so glad they finally got someone that looks like and feels like Amanda Waller. None of this stupid young, pretty, skinny CW crap. We want a real looking Amanda Waller, and Viola Davis does it to a perfection level. Now, I have watched a lot of reviews and read some where people were very pissed off and annoyed that she was still alive at the end of the film. So firstly, I want to say, of course she's going to be alive at the end of the film. And secondly, Amanda Waller is like the human version of a cockroach. She just survives everything. She's so good at surviving. Survival is like her superpower, if she had a superpower. She's just so good at getting through things and just living. That is just part of her character. So for this to happen in the film, and the joke of them asking, how the hell are you still alive, was amazing. It was just so good and I loved it. So I loved every bit of Amanda Waller in this film. I actually liked all of her scenes, and I think she was portrayed very, very well, and she was, again, probably another of my very favourite characters in this film. Lastly, I want to talk about the cameos, because I know this has gone on for too long. I can talk about this film for hours, and I have to other people, but I don't want to, you know, bore you guys for too long. So last thing I want to talk about is the cameos. So obviously this film happens after Batman v Superman, so they firstly did chat about Superman, and we saw a few scenes of which are just what happened in Batman v Superman, of Superman's funeral. So we saw Superman's funeral that we'd already seen, and a few little bits about what happened in Batman v Superman and Superman dying. So we also had Batman. So Batman was in this film for like, what, his screen time probably, I would say, was 30 seconds long. That's inclusive of all the scenes he was in. Probably 30 seconds we saw him on screen, which, I mean, is fine. It's not like we're going to see a lot of Batman. This is Suicide Squad, and it's the setup of Suicide Squad. You know, Batman cannot be a focus in this, and either can the Joker. So I did love all the Batman scenes in this, obviously. My favorite scene was definitely when he saved Harley from drowning and he just punches her in the face. That was the best. It was literally my life goal in all of the Arkham games, to just punch her the F out. And whenever it happened, it was great. So, you know, it's good to know that me and Batman have similar dreams. Last cameo I want to talk about is the Flash. He came in so quickly and we just saw a very, very small part of him, but he was stopping Captain Boomerang, and of course Captain Boomerang is part of the Flash universe, so it was so good that they connected him. And if you saw closely, the Flash had blue lightning, so he's not obviously one with the Speed Force yet. He doesn't have his red and blue lightning, which I did sort of talk about in my Justice League reaction trailer, actually, afterwards, after the trailer. He doesn't have his red and yellow lightning, so we're assuming here that he's not one with the Speed Force. He doesn't really know much about it. He's very new to it. So it'd be really cool to see if this scene is connected to the Justice League or his standalone Flash film or whatever. So it's really cool that they've connected Captain Boomerang and the Flash, because I really, really want to see more of Captain Boomerang, especially his interactions with the Flash. Imagine him coercing with Ezra Miller, with Barry Allen as the Flash. It's just, both of there, it would just be amazing. I'm dreaming of the conversations. So overall, yes, I did like the film. I really do encourage you to go see this. Do not listen to any of the critics or reviews. And if you've watched this whole review, then you've probably kind of spoiled yourself if you haven't seen it. But I highly suggest to go see this film and decide for yourself. You have to make your own opinion, because in this DC universe, we're gonna have a huge amount of rifts down the middle of us fans. It's just gonna be like that. So I've come to terms with that. I think people are slowly coming to terms with that. So they've kind of left us hanging with the Suicide Squad. It wasn't a fantastic last punch out for the year. It really wasn't. It's what they needed it to be, but it wasn't. So the next one we'll see will be Wonder Woman. So that will be very interesting. I'm having very high hopes for this. I have high hopes for every DC film. So no matter what, I'm not going to be crushed. I'm going to keep going in with high hopes and hoping that finally there will be a film that I'm like 10 out of freaking 10. So that's my review on the Suicide Squad. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of the film by leaving me a comment below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.